What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand to Table podcast. I'm your host, Henry Kaminski Jr., your go-to for restaurant marketing and branding. And today we're going to be talking about all things menu. So this is a project that I am currently working on with a client, and I want to share with you some of the behind the scenes conversations that we're having as far as concerns and different approaches that we are taking action on when it comes to marketing my clients' new menu refresh. So one of the big concerns that my client had was, listen, we are adjusting a lot of things on this menu this time around. And to be quite frank with you, we're a little concerned that if we don't get the messaging right about the menu refresh, it could actually backfire on us. So Henry, help us with this because we don't want to mess this up. We only have one shot at this when we go to launch this. So I hear him loud and clear because menu shifting is a very sensitive thing, especially if you're taking menu items off that might be fan favorites. And you guys know this could stir a lot of emotion with your audience and your guests. I'll give you a quick example. I was listening to a podcast the other day where Tom Segura was being interviewed, the funny comedian. And he was like, I used to go to this Italian restaurant in LA like twice a week for this one particular dish. And the one day I walked in and it was gone. And I asked, where'd this dish go? And they said, oh, we took it off the menu. What did Tom do and think to himself? He's like, I'm never coming here again. And that's what he said. I stopped going there because they took the one menu item off that he loved the most. So, and I've seen this over and over and over again. And so we want to avoid that. Or if we have to do something like that we have the right PR in place. We have the right messaging in place. So when a guest does confront us about it, we know what we're going to say, right? So the first thing that I want to talk about here is the positioning of the new menu launch. And this goes for menus that are specifically getting their prices restructured. Okay, whether they're going up or whether they're going down. And one of the things that we're doing with this particular restaurant is the prices are actually coming down a little bit, right? So we don't want to come across cheap, discounty, reactive to the market, things like that. Listen, I was here from day one when they were considering changing this menu. And there was a lot of conversation, a lot of thought put into this decision before the menu actually got changed. So I understand from both sides, the consumer side, but also the ownership side of what it takes to change a menu and relaunch it, right? So one of the things we thought about was, okay, well, we have to start paying attention to the words that we use. And instead of using words that are lower prices or discounting, we decided to take the approach of easier ways to enjoy our menu more often. Because that was one of the reasons why we changed the menu in the first place, is because we want to increase foot traffic and we want to increase the frequency of visit. So we are starting to use more of that language instead of the discounty, low cost, freebie type of positioning that a lot of people use just because they don't know any better, or or it's easier to just communicate that. The other thing that we wanted to focus in on was weeknight friendliness, right? We know that Mondays and Tuesdays, sometimes even Wednesdays, but trivia really pushes us over on that specific day because we have a very strong and loyal trivia following. But Mondays and Tuesdays are very tough days. And it's not just for us. I know it across the board. Those are two tough days to get people out of their home, right? After the weekend of going out. And one of the things that we thought about when we decided to shift this menu was, all right, this is going to help our weeknight friendliness. We are going to become more weeknight friendly when we roll this menu out. So we have to start talking about it that way so people start to realize, I can frequent this place once, twice, maybe even 3 times a week and not feel like I'm getting clobbered over the head with the pricing, right? Because I'll be honest with you guys, this is the first time in I don't know how long that I've actually sort of felt the pressure when going out to eat with my family. I mean, I took my family out for breakfast the other day. I mean, I think my wife got like 2 eggs over easy. I got an omelet, and my son got pancakes, and it was $65 at a diner. Plus tip, we're talking, we're $75 for that, right? So, people, no matter what socioeconomic status you're at, are feeling the price pressures in the restaurants. People are a lot more conscious of when they go out and how often they go out. So it's important to understand this when you are reconstructing your menu. The other way we positioned the menu relaunch was we really wanted to focus in on our regulars. We have at this restaurant a very strong regular ship, if you will, and we want to sort of lean into those folks because those folks bring their friends, they bring their family, they're very loyal to us. And so we wanted to kind of give that back to them by adjusting the menu accordingly. We're using language like built for regulars, loved by the hunger, things like that, instead of, again, the lower prices, the cheap, the affordable types of language that a lot of folks use when they do moves like this. So we want to focus on our regulars. It was very top of mind when we started this. And now the language is going to follow that and really reinforce what it is that we're doing here. The other thing that we're doing is we're definitely utilizing our staff to talk about the menu items. And we do that very, very simple. We don't use over-polished or overproduced video. This is simply, me coming in with a gimbal on an iPhone and interviewing our servers. Like, I went to one of the servers the other day and I had him taste test one of the new menu items and give us his honest feedback, which went over like crazy. One, that server is very loved at that restaurant. And two, he gave a very honest response. And I think people really appreciate that. People want real, they want raw, they want, to feel like they can engage with somebody and really connect with somebody on that level. And I just feel that those polished videos don't quite allow that. And listen, I'm not poo-pooing on the videos. You hear me say that all the time. I think polished videos there's a place for them. And some of that stuff out there is really, really good. And we do that stuff. I don't want to cannibalize my own business here by saying that. But listen, when it comes to audience engagement and connection, it really comes down to that real, raw, that authentic vibe. And those types of videos do that right out of the gate. So again, getting your team involved and having them sort of showcase different menu items instead of yourself, the owner, could bring a nice little touch to social media and a nice connection with your audience. And lastly, I just want to sort of highlight some more of the language that we're using, because I think this is going to help you when it comes to marketing your menu relaunches in the future. And again, you have to understand the purpose and the reasoning why you're doing this in the first place. So make sure that you have that nailed down before you make any changes. And then the next thing is get very, very intentional with your messaging and your wording specifically. I can't emphasize this enough in this episode. And if there's anything that you take away from this episode today, it's focus on the words that you use. The words are so specific and they're so intentional and they mean so much to people lately. You don't want to just glaze that over and take for granted that you could just spew out anything and, it's just going to hit or resonate. So I want you to be very, very conscious of the language and the words that you're using. So when we finalized all of this menu change, we came down with one main message. And that main message is the same flavor, new reasons to come back more often. That was the entire pitch, if you will, to the audience, because that was our goal. It was frequency of visit. We all know if our guests come back 3-4 times, we are in their world until we mess up, right? Or give them a reason never to come back. But we knew that frequency of visit was the whole game plan around this menu relaunch. And that was the main messaging that we sort of revolved everything around. And guess what? It's working. People are really, really gravitating to this new menu. I'll give you a quick reason why I know this for a fact. We see it in the numbers. We have access to Toast. right? So I could see daily revenues, weekly revenues. And when I see after the menu launch, a soaring of sales, I kind of know that the messaging and the campaigning behind the new menu, which was all being done prior to that real launch, right? We were teasing that out for quite some time before we actually launched it. And as soon as it hit, boom, we see those sales go up. I'll give you another example how we know that this is working really well. I got a text message the other night from one of the managers at one of the locations saying, Henry, can you turn off our OpenTable reservations right now? Because we are at max capacity and guests are actually finding a loophole to book their table while they wait for the time that they were trying to get. I don't want to get into the weeds on how the guests were actually finding that loophole, but it was backing up our reservation system and I had to go in there and actually turn it off. So no one could book a reservation any further until we sort of got through that rush. So it's crazy how a menu relaunch can really, really change the game for your restaurant. And so I want to share this with you. And guys, I bring these episode topics up to you because these are real. This is what I'm working on with my clients real time. And I know as other restaurant owners are listening and watching this, they're going, I never thought of it that way. Or yeah, I struggled with that in the past. And now I have some answers or I have some insight now that I never had. So I will continue to bring real to you through this show. It's what I love to do. And, it's a great way to kind of give you the information that you need without me trying to sound all salesy and pitchy, because that is not me at all. And I just want to go on a record and say this. If I ever reach out to you to ask you to come on the show as a guest, I am not trying to sell you anything. I am not trying to pitch you anything. Listen, if we have a conversation and you like what you hear and you're interested and you got questions on what I do, great. We can have that conversation then. But my intention is not to have you come on the show to sort of pitch you and corner you and try to get you to sign up for something. That is not my intention with the show. I am very specific and intentional with who I have on the show because I am very concerned with my audience. And I don't want some circus act coming on this show thinking that, there's some expert and then you ask them 3 questions and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And you know it, I know it. And now my audience starts to question my integrity and my professionalism. I don't want that. So I am very, very picky with who I bring on the show. And I just want everybody to know that because there might be some stirring going on out there thinking, oh, Henry's going to have you on the show and he's going to try to pitch you one of his services. It's not me, guys. It's not me. Listen, I want to have a great conversation. I want to learn from you. I want our audience to learn from us and our conversation. And whatever comes out of that, whether it's a friendship, whether it's business, whatever, I'll let the universe decide that. I'm not trying to put you in a place or pitch you something that you don't need and you don't want. So that's it. I'm done. Guys, if you're having some fun with this show, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it, leave a review, please. That helps tremendously get the show up there in ranking. And it really helps me understand and what you guys want, right? So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to challenge me. Don't be afraid to get involved with the show because that's what the show's here for. I want it engaging. I want it fun. I want it educational. And I want it to help you. So hope you have an amazing day, guys. And I'll catch you on the next episode real soon. Take care.